Welcome to Unchained Crochet. I'm Jen. For this project, we will be using appropriate yarn to go with whatever project you want to put this on. I have chosen cookie yarn by Jarbo, found at Hobby, Hobbii. You'll need some super floss made by Oral-B. You'll need a yarn needle, 28mm lobster clasp. You can find those in the jewelry section at your local craft store. And an appropriate bead with a large hole for your stem of your feather to pass through. And, of course, something to cut your yarn with. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Unchained Crochet. This is Jen, your host. This will be our last tutorial in this series. It is the feather that is to hang anywhere you want to put it, really. You can hang it on a tote, hang it on your Freebird cape scarf. You can wear it in hair, wherever you can fit it, wherever you can stick it. So let's get started here. I first started out watching Claudetta Crochet's video for Easy Crochet Feather is the title of that. I'll link that in the description. I like to give credit where credit's due. So I had my squares and my cookie yarn, and I had decided, well, I'm going to try making that, chevron looking feather and change colors out and just pick up on the colors I used in my body of my piece and my pockets here. I did not put any of the cookie yarn into the feather. So I finished it just to gain some working knowledge. It was my first feather, and just decided it's just too big for me, for my liking. It's too heavy, and it extends beyond the pocket, which I didn't really care for because I plan to clip mine at the corner of the pockets. So there's going to be two, and then when I flip it and turn it inside out, upside down, the cape scarf, I can just wear them on the other side. So we only need two feathers if you're going to wear them on that. So this is the feather that I am happy with. The difference being mainly Claudetta, I think she does like, I don't know, 10 or 12 rows before she starts her decreasing. And then I did my decrease up here a bit differently so that I have more of a point to the tip right there. I like it kind of curling on the edge there. I don't know, picky, and nobody else is going to notice that, but I know it's there. So, it basically is just a chevron, guys. If you've done a chevron blanket, you can easily pick up your yarn and crochet a feather. So another difference is that I put a bead on at the end and just secured it with some other yarn. And then I like the look of just leaving my little frayed tails out to make it look like some of the down feathers a bird would have. Then I just did the same thing here with the other tail. I just left it out right here. I don't care. I just don't care. I think it's cute and lovely the way it is. If you want, you can bury your tails properly. Weave them in, snip them off, blah, blah, blah. But I just knotted it. And you'll see that toward the end. I have shown this in my Joann's haul I did last. But these are little toggle clasps. Let me get the size of that for you. You are going to need some other things if you want to make them into removable feathers. So here are some things I have. I bought a bag of these beads. I'll just review this real quick at Joann's. They are Hildy and Joe. They're just various sizes. I got these primarily for these brown beads. I'm not a jewelry maker, but I got them to use these bigger brown beads with a bigger hole. So you're going to need something with a larger hole that can go over that starting, the chain when we start. So when we go back and finish it up, that's going to go on at the end. So to put those on, I wanted to secure mine extra well, so I came down here and went back up through the bead, and it is a problem getting that tail to go through the eye of a needle and getting all that bulk up through the bead. So we'll go through that. If you want to use my method, use my method. If you got a better way, do it your way. You are a free bird. So these are some Oral-B Super Floss. I seen this trick a long time ago on YouTube. I'm not sure where I seen it. I think it was YouTube. They recommended using the Super Floss to put your beads on your yarn. And you can do this ahead of time if you're making a project with a lot of beads on it. Just use this for the yarn. If the yarn is too fat to go through the holes of the beads with a needle, with a yarn needle, because, you know, unless you're working with a lace weight and a really fine needle, it's not likely going to fit through that eye of the needle. So the floss really helps. And you can just, you know, you can lick those, whatever, wet them with your fingers and give them a little twist if you need to, you know, get them together a little bit more, or hold them up close and just guide them through. There you go. So that is used at the end. So those are Super Floss, and they smell quite minty and fresh. I think they make these primarily for people who wear braces to be able to floss in close proximals like I have. It is so hard for me to use regular floss, so those really help out a lot. All right, the other supply is the Hildy and Joe clasp, a lobster clasp. They're jewelry making lobster clasps is what you need. And I just got, not the very biggest that they had, but I'm using a 28 millimeter size. And the eye of that to put your yarn through is sufficient to get the yarn through. But again, the yarn needle would not go through that. So therefore, I'm using the Super Floss. All right. So I just think that this leaf, it just made me happy to make this leaf, or this leaf, this feather. And, you know, it's going to clip on nicely and not hang down too low. It's not, like, really big compared to the pocket. So, the other one just seemed way too bulky and big to me. So, let's get started. Just pick up your cookie yarn. You should have some left after doing the body of your cape scarf. And we'll get the show on the road. I'm using an H-hook. I recommend you use whatever size you did the body of your cape scarf with. That should be fine, unless you want to go a little tighter to get a sturdier feather. I have not steam blocked this as I did the rest of my garment. And I'm not really planning to. I'll probably just wet block it, if anything. I don't usually even wet block, but since, you know, I want it to keep its shape, I'm probably just going to wet them and spread them out with my hands lightly and let them dry on the ironing board overnight. You can steam block it like I do most of my wearable garments, but you're going to get a lot of drape to that feather, and it may crumple up and stick to the garment more and not hang right for you. So leave yourself some tail. I'm leaving about 12 to 14 inches. All right. We are going to start with a chain 11. So we're going to slip knot. And we're going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11. Okay, now to start this, we're going to slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, not counting the one that's on the hook. So 1, 2, we're going to slip stitch there. And now we're going to do 5 more slip stitches. I go through the back loops so that you don't get that dangliness to the bottom edge. I go through that little back loop. If you can't see your back loop, turn your chain over or turn it sideways, and you should be able to see those back loop bumps. So that was 2. We're looking for 6 total. 3. Can be a bit fiddly. Just be patient with yourself and with your yarn. That was 5 and 6. All right, so that creates the stem. Now the stem right here. Now we're going to chain 5 more. 1, 2, 3, and 5. And now we need 3 more to count as the first double crochet. So our first row, we're going to begin with a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And then double crochet again in the same stitch. Now double crochet in the next stitch. So what we have is 3 double crochet. Basically, you're counting your first chain, and then 2 double in that, all in that first stitch that we took. And then 1 double crochet in the next stitch. So we've got 4 double crochets. Now we're going to 3 double crochet together. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Leave 2 loops on your hook. Do the same thing in the next 2 stitches. Yarn over, insert your hook. Ooh, that one's a little tight. Sorry, y'all. It's an itty bitty stitch. Itty bitty chain. And we got the 1 more right here. After you get those 3 partial double crochets, you're going to have 4 stitches, 4 loops on your hook. And we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4. Now we're going to treble crochet into the center opening right here. That little loop right there. Can y'all see that? Right here. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through that loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we're going to mirror image what we just did to the other side. All right, we're going to mirror image. So we're going to 3 double crochet together. Got another tight one here. If it gets a bit fiddly, just go through 2 loops. It's fine. So there is 3. Now you're going to double crochet in your next stitch. And 3 double crochet in your last. I like to pull that last chain a little more snugly. All right, so now we're going to do our next row. We're going to chain 3 and turn. We're going to 2 double crochet in that same stitch there. 1, 2, double crochet in the next, and now we're going to do our 3 double crochet together again. That last double crochet should be into the top of your previous 3 double crochet together. Now we are going to back post treble crochet. To do a back post treble crochet, we're going to wrap twice. We're going to go around the back side, around the post of the previous treble crochet below. And now we're going to mirror again what we did on the other side. So we're going to 3 double crochet together. Double crochet in the next stitch. And then place 3 double crochet in your last stitch. Now, we're going to be repeating row 2, but all the difference is that you're going to alternate each row between front post and back post treble crochet in order to keep that vertical line, this stem of the feather here, to keep that vein of it running up on one side. You'll have that texture there. See, the back is smooth. So this row, we're going to repeat row 2 again, but we're going to do a front post treble crochet when we come to it. So we're going to chain 3 and turn. We are on row 3. We're going to do 2 more double crochet in the first stitch. Double crochet in the next. 3 double crochet together. This is the repeat until you get it as tall as you want your feather to be, or close to that, before you start your decreases. Now we've come to the treble crochet. We're going to do a front post. Oops, I didn't wrap twice. 1, 2. I don't do very many treble crochets, y'all. Now do our 3 treble or double together. Goodness, I'm fumbling all over the place today. I'm mentally still on vacation. 3 together. Double crochet in your next stitch. 3 double into the last stitch. For this project, I've chosen to do 6 rows before I start the decrease section, because that's the height that I like. If you want to do 7 or 8 and make yours longer, or do 4 or 5 and make them short and stubby, that's just up to you. Pick your favorite bird. If you got a little bird you love, do a smaller bird. Do whatever tickles your fancy. All right, so I'm going to just keep doing these rows, and I'm going to stay right here with you. Birds of a feather flock together, and you can just watch me stitch until I get to the decrease section. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. This is as tall as I like mine. If you want yours a little longer, keep on going. It's okay. When you're ready, you can pause this, and when you're ready, come back for the decrease section. I need to turn my page. Got my notes down. So the row count will be changing here. We completed 6 rows, but I like to change the row count for the decrease section just so that you can count your decrease rows separately, because we may not all be doing 6 rows before we decrease. So if you get lost on your decrease, like how many decrease rows have I made, you're just going to look at the sides here and see how many double crochets you're putting in that first stitch. You can follow along here. So we're going to chain 3, and turn. We're then going to double crochet in the same stitch once. So you have 2 in that same stitch. Double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to do our 3 double crochet together. So the only real difference there with this row is that you're only putting essentially 2 double crochet in that first outer stitch on the edges. Everything else is the same. Keep doing your post treble on whichever side you've got it situated, if you're on the front or the back, and mirror the side we just came from. So we're doing our 3 double crochet together, one double in the next, 2 double in the last. So now we're going to do row 2 of the decrease section. We're going to chain 3 and turn, double crochet in that same stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and now this row we're going to, instead of doing 3 double crochet together, we're going to 2 double crochet together. 1, 2, and do your post treble. Mine is on the back right now. And back to your 2 double crochet together. Double crochet in the next stitch. 2 double crochet in your last stitch. Now for row 3 of the decrease section, we're going to chain 3 and turn, double crochet in the next stitch. So we're not putting 1 in that first stitch. You're just chaining 3 and turning. You're going to double crochet into the next stitch. 2 double crochet together. Do your post treble crochet. Mirror image, we're going to 2 double crochet together, 2 together, double crochet in the next, and 1 double in the last. Now row 4, chain 3 and turn. We're going to immediately 2 double crochet together. So the next 2 stitches, do your partial double crochet and put them together with that first chain. Do your treble crochet, your post treble. I like to just get it into the treble crochet post and fold that fabric down toward you. Get that out of the way so you can see what you're doing. If you struggle with those, or if you're doing a front post, you can fold it the other direction. And we're going to mirror image on the other side. We're going to do the 3 double crochet together, because essentially, even though this was 2 double crochet together, we put that first chain together with it. Oops. Yeah. This is the final row, row 5. 1, 2, 3, and turn. We're going to do our treble crochet as we have been. Leave those 2 loops on the hook. We're basically doing 3 stitches together. Just the middle one is your post treble. And then into the last stitch, we're going to do our double crochet, half double crochet, and draw through all 3 loops. That's it. Chain 1 and done. Isn't that an easy little feather? If you get a little off with your decreases, just as long as your center is center, you're good. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It is okay. Even feathers aren't perfect. All right. So we have got this tail to work with if you want to use the cookie yarn. I don't feel real easy about using the cookie yarn to put the bead and the clasp on. The cookie yarn is single ply, and though I don't plan to wash these, that's another reason I made them removable. I do want that yarn to hold up, so I'm going to be using some of my body yarn, and I love this yarn. I'm going to use my 4-ply. Just leave yourself a good long strand here. About 18 inches should be enough. 18 to 20 inches, never hurts to have too much. Alright, because you want to weave in both tails if you're weaving in. If not, you don't need quite so much, but who cares? Alright. So this is a bit fiddly. I do use the yarn needle some. And I'll show you where. And then I take it off again and use the flosser to get back through my wooden bead. And it doesn't hurt to go ahead and check. Make sure your yarn needle passes easily through your bead. Should have already done that, sorry. Sorry, I'm not too well prepared for this today because we just got back from our anniversary trip and I'm still quite tired and out of sorts. Okay, now comes your super floss, your bead, your yarn needle, and let me grab one out of my bag because I just let them loose. Your lobster claw jewelry clasp. Okay. So we're going to thread that needle. I like to start down here and kind of just do a knot. You can cut it and make it look frayed later if you want, or you can leave it longer and weave it in. Whatever your preference is fine. But I just put the needle through a couple loops right there. Wrap it twice. Hold your wraps, pull your needle through. Give it a tug. If the knot bothers you, then by all means do something else. But we're just going to travel on up through here. You can wiggle it back and forth and kind of hold the base stitching that we did. It's not wanting to cooperate. I'm just going to weave it back and forth. But you can make it right in between the stitches if it was single crochets. Sorry, slip stitches are a bit harder to travel through. So just pull your yarn up through there. And when you get up to the tip, you can take an extra little stitch back where you just came from, just to anchor that yarn and that tip pretty well. And it just kind of, if you're using your cookie yarn and your coordinating yarn, it's just going to kind of blend in together. Nobody's really going to notice that. If they do, they've got a problem worse than that feather. So go up through your bead, and that extra little stitch, that backtrack loop, was to anchor the tip with the yarn. Kind of marry the two together. This is probably the more difficult part, is getting this through the hole. Just kind of pop it through. Don't pull too hard. You don't want to tear up your cookie yarn. It's a little finer with the twist. So now, here is why we have the super floss, because this yarn needle here that the yarn fits into does not pass through that clasp. If you're lucky enough to find a clasp with an eye opening big enough for a yarn needle, good for you, but the clasp up here may be like a keychain. So that is why I use the super floss. Okay, so now we're going to just fold your yarn, leave several inches over your super floss. It's a bit fiddly because it comes packaged up all bent, but you just want to get those two ends together, and we're just going to use it as a guide in place of a needle and get both tips through there. Grab it and give it a tug. Don't even really have to tug, it just slides right on there. Now we can take off the super floss. Put your yarn needle back on the yarn. And we want to secure that pretty well through that eye. Like, I don't trust it with just two. I may want to use these on a bag, and you know how you brush past someone and the bag just kind of be pulled on. So I'm now, you don't have to do this, but you can. Just depends on how much you trust your yarn. I'm into the minutia, and I don't like how flimsy that feels, like floppy. You can see my other one I went through twice, and it fills that hole up nicely. It feels more secure to me. So back to, this is a lot of trouble just for a little feather, but it does make it wonderfully removable. Won't get tore up in the laundry. I suppose if you wanted to, you could just stitch on your feathers and tuck them in the pockets when you wash it. Maybe if you don't have much of an agitator, our washer doesn't have it doesn't have an agitator. It's the agitator-less or whatever you call it. So we're just going to do the same thing again. We're going to go back through that eye. I never have gotten one of those Ott lights that are so expensive at Joann's. I know they sell them. Other stores probably do too. Okay, we're done with the super floss again. And we're going to rethread our needle again. Once you do one of these, your second one's going to go pretty fast. But I would recommend, you know, doing each, you know, make your feather, do your bead and your clasp, do your bead and your clasp. So that way you're not forgetting what you did before. So we're just going to weave that back through there and go back underneath that bead. Again, you don't really have to do this part if you don't want to. And you might have to just fight with it a bit, maybe get something to grip that needle. And I like to roll the stem in my fingers to kind of embed the yarn together so it's not quite so obvious. Alright. I hooked up that. I didn't mean to do that earlier. And now you can put, as I did, I anchored it right here and went back up through there again and then knotted it up here. So that's what I'm going to do again. You can knot it here and leave them both frayed here if you want. Again, that little knot hides any little difference with the yarn, helps hide it. So I'm just going to anchor this through a stitch or two. And pass it back through there again. It's getting quite snug. This probably wouldn't go through one more time. Not another time after this one. Okay, so I'm just going to knot it right here. I'm going to pass through the middle. Sometimes I wrap it 3 times. Since this is the top and it's very exposed, I'm going to wrap it 3 times and pull through. And if you got some, what did I do? Getting in the way there. If you got some super glue, just a little dab of do-ya. Drop a little dab of super glue on it. But really tug on that knot and seat it very well. If you're going to leave your knot exposed or do a knot. And I just cut it about a ½ inch or so. You can trim it up as you want. Then I like to get in there and just ruffle that little tail up a bit, scruff it up, and same thing with this one. We've got that one anchored with our first knot we made, and I'm just leaving that one a little bit shorter. I think my husband's been using my scissors for something else. They don't feel like they're as sharp as they were. That's my sharpest pair. So this one here, I like to just like really go at it, fluff it up. Separate those plies really well. I think these would be so cute as part of like those art journals. If you can make one for an art journal and clip it like on the foil spine of it and leave it hanging, I think that would be adorable. I should journal. I just can't put my hook down most of the time. So that is it. Just got to weave in the ends. There's our pretty little feathers. That one's backwards. And really, there's no right or wrong side. It looks good from either side. 2 little feathers, happy together. All right, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series and look forward to showing you more of my designs. I hope you stay tuned and come back often. Please like, share, and comment below. And any constructive critique, ways that I can improve on my tutorials, I would really appreciate. I just really want to help people, and if there's something I'm not being clear enough about, or if I'm over explaining something, just let me know. I do appreciate constructive criticism. If you are at the end of your garment, just whip stitch your pockets where you want them. I would suggest you try on your wrap after you steam block, if you're steam blocking, whatever blocking you're doing, if any. Try it on, figure out where you want your pockets when you, fold your arms, bend your arms, and figure out where you want your pockets. Okay, I've decided to go ahead and go all the way with this and help you out if you need a little help where to place your pockets. I have tried mine on. Try it pulling it up your shoulders like a shawl collar and fold the top of it up with one end up. It doesn't matter which side you start with, your cookie yarn, your solid yarn, your variegated yarn, doesn't matter. But I am placing my opposite yarn on the other fabric. So I've decided, after trying mine on and looking at it both ways, with it kind of off the shoulders more and kind of just hanging off more, and with the shawl collar look, and either way, I think this is a good position for my pocket. Not sure how well you can see this. It is about 3.5 inches in and 3.5 inches up from the bottom. So that is where I want to place my pockets. I'm just going to show you real quick how I'm going to whip stitch this on. I was going to baste it with some yarn. You can do that, just baste it, take a couple big stitches corner to corner. Just do that real quick and don't worry about your tails. You're not going to keep that yarn in there. I've got about 48 inches of yarn to go around the side, bottom, and the side again. So I'm working on the table, and I think that is very nice because it holds it still for you as opposed to sitting in a recliner. So I'm just going to start here and take a little bite out of my tan fabric. And leave enough tail to weave in later. And then I'm going to attach the corner in that same spot. Try not to take too much of a bite out of your tan fabric. And I am stitching with tan on top of the variegated yarn. So just keep on coming on down the line. Try to grab 2 strands of yarn at least from each. And the reason I'm using the tan is because when I flip this inside out, upside down, and want to wear it with the other color up at the top as opposed to the tan up at the top, when I flip it inside out, upside down, from the outside, this tan yarn is not going to show on the other side. So you want to use your opposite yarn to sew your pocket on. You want your yarn to match your background fabric. So just keep stitching along. I'm going about 1/4 inch apart. Really use your table. You really don't need to pin it. At least I don't. I have steam blocked, and that I'm sure has helped some to, make them lay nice and drapey and snuggle up nicely together. These 2 yarns really seem to love each other. They're not exactly the same. One's a 4-ply, one's a single ply, but hey, it works. They're getting along pretty good. Playing nice. So just keep doing your whip stitching. Get around the other corner, bury that tail. And when you're working with your cookie yarn and stitching your other pocket on, your solid pocket, if you're working with cookie or another single ply, be sure that you bury the tail, stop, and do a little knot like this, like you did on your feather, and wrap your needle a couple times and pull it through, and then bury the tail some more, knot it again, and then bury the tail some more. So you've got 2 knots and you've got it buried twice. So that will keep it from more secure, keep it from coming out in the wash. I had a blanket done with Lion brand Ferris wheel, gorgeous yarn, gorgeous blanket. Put all this work into it. Spent hours weaving my tails in with my yarn needle, going back on itself, but that stuff's still come undone, and I just have yet to fix it. I don't really use it much. It's hanging behind my chair in my yarn room. So this is just a little extra clip, extra bonus at the end of this video. And I hope you all enjoy making your free bird cape scarf. I will talk to y'all later. I'm going to have this on my live tonight, so I have got to get off of here and finish it up and get ready for the live. Have a great night or day wherever you are. God bless. If you complete one of my tutorials and you make a garment, please see my video on the Be Brave challenge. It's a New Year's giveaway. Deadline is December 31st for entry. All the rules are listed on my Facebook group, Unchained Crochet. Follow those rules and come join in, post some pictures, leave some comments, and some feedback is appreciated. Thanks for watching.